Imagine a vast empty desert, sand dunes stretching as far as the eye can see. Here in Turkmenistan, something truly extraordinary exists, a wound in the earth that burns with an eternal flame, the door to hell. Not a natural formation, but a bizarre monument to a human mistake. For over 50 years, this colossal crater has been burning, a constant roaring inferno. The glow can be seen from miles away, a strange orange beacon. Stand at its edge, feel the intense heat, hear the deafening roar. It is a gaping chasm, almost 70 meters wide and 20 meters deep. This journey is about finding answers to how it got here and why it's still burning. We will explore the story of this incredible phenomenon and the unintended consequences of our quest for resources. To understand the door to hell, you must first understand the world that surrounds it. Turkmenistan is a country defined by its landscape, and that landscape is overwhelmingly desert. The Karakum, which translates to black sands, covers around 70% of the entire nation. This isn't a desert of romantic rolling dunes like you might see in a film. It is a harsh, sprawling, and often flat expanse of sand, rock, and clay. It is one of the largest sand deserts in the world, a truly formidable environment where summer temperatures can soar to a blistering 50 degrees Celsius. It is a place that tests the limits of survival. Life here is sparse, adapted over centuries to the extreme conditions. Nomadic herders still guide their flocks of hardy sheep and camels across the arid plains, following ancient routes in search of scarce vegetation and even scarcer water. Small, resilient shrubs and tough grasses are the only plants that can survive the punishing heat and lack of rain. Wildlife is equally elusive, consisting of creatures built for this world. Desert monitors, nimble gazelles, and a host of insects and arachnids that burrow deep into the sand to escape the midday sun. The Karakum is a silent, patient, and powerful force of nature. This seemingly barren wasteland, however, hides immense wealth beneath its surface. The Karakum Desert sits atop one of the largest natural gas reserves on the planet. For decades, this hidden treasure has been the primary driver of Turkmenistan's economy. It is a paradox of nature. A land that appears empty and desolate on the surface holds an ocean of energy deep underground. This invisible resource is the very reason the door to hell exists. It was the search for this gas that led a team of Soviet geologists to this remote spot all those years ago, setting in motion a chain of events they could never have predicted. Getting here is an adventure in itself. The journey from the capital, Ashgabat, is a long and bumpy ride. Paved roads eventually give way to rough, sandy tracks that crisscross the desert. You drive for hours, with nothing but the horizon in every direction. The sense of isolation is profound. You feel a million miles from anywhere, a tiny speck in an enormous empty canvas. It's in this context of profound emptiness and isolation that the sudden appearance of a giant burning crater becomes all the more shocking and surreal. It is a fiery spectacle that simply does not belong. As you get closer, the first sign that you are approaching something unusual is not something you see, but something you smell. A faint, sulfurous scent begins to drift on the desert wind, a smell like struck matches. It's a chemical tang that cuts through the clean, dry air of the desert. Then, as the sun begins to set, you spot it on the horizon. At first, it's just a soft, pulsating orange glow against the deepening twilight. It looks like a distant town or a large bonfire, but as you drive nearer, the glow intensifies, growing brighter and more vivid until it dominates the landscape ahead of you. The final approach is often made on foot, scrambling up a small, sandy rise. The sound hits you next. It starts as a low hum, but it grows steadily into a powerful, deep roar, like the sound of a jet engine that never ceases. The ground beneath your feet begins to feel warm. The anticipation builds with every step. Nothing can quite prepare you for the moment you reach the crest of the hill and look down into the crater for the first time. The sheer spectacle is breathtaking, a visceral and overwhelming experience for the senses that stops you in your tracks. You are standing at the edge of a vast, burning pit. Tens of thousands of individual flames dance and flicker across the crater floor, some small and gentle, others leaping meters into the air with a furious energy. The heat is immense, a physical force that pushes you back from the edge, It washes over you in waves, a dry, intense blast that makes your skin prickle and your eyes water. The scale is immense, far larger than any photograph can convey. It feels primal, ancient, as if you have stumbled across a secret of the Earth, a place where the planet itself is breathing fire. Looking down into the Inferno is mesmerizing. You can see the fissures and vents in the ground from which the gas is escaping, each one a source of its own column of fire. The light it casts is otherworldly, bathing the surrounding desert in a flickering, apocalyptic orange. It illuminates the faces of fellow travelers, their expressions a mixture of awe, disbelief, and a little bit of fear. In that moment, standing on the lip of this man-made wonder, you understand why it has captured the imagination of so many. This is not just a geological anomaly. It is a piece of living, breathing, roaring theater. In 1971, Turkmenistan was part of the Soviet Union, locked in a global race for energy. Geologists sought resources across the empire. Their pursuit of natural gas led a team to the Karakum Desert, known for its reserves. Near Darvaza, they aimed to tap into a massive, shallow deposit. The plan: drill, confirm, and extract. The Cold War fueled urgency. Energy security was paramount. Pressure to deliver may have led to shortcuts. They set up camp and transported heavy machinery, unaware they were about to make a mistake, creating a landmark that would burn for decades, a fiery monument to their miscalculation. The drilling began. The heavy diesel-powered rig roared to life, its powerful drill bit starting its slow but steady journey into the earth. The team of geologists monitored their equipment closely, analyzing the rock and soil samples. At first, everything seemed to be proceeding exactly as planned. However, the desert is a place of secrets, and the ground beneath their feet was not as solid as they believed. They were drilling into a shallow gas pocket. This meant the high-pressure gas was trapped relatively close to the surface. It was a geological trap, waiting to be sprung. They were essentially drilling blind into a highly pressurized system. They expected to find gas, but they did not expect the Earth itself to give way. Every meter the drill descended brought them closer to a point of catastrophic failure. They had no idea that instead of harnessing the gas, they were about to unleash it in the most dramatic way imaginable. Then it happened. Without warning, the ground gave way. A deep groaning sound came from the earth as the ground fractured and collapsed. The drilling rig, a multi-ton piece of heavy industrial machinery, was suddenly on unstable footing. The fragile crust shattered, unable to bear the weight any longer. The entire drilling platform began to slide into a newly forming abyss. It was a sudden, violent event that plunged the site into chaos. The earth swallowed the entire operation whole. A giant sinkhole opened up, consuming the rig. The collapse had breached the shallow gas pocket they had been trying to access. Huge quantities of methane were now pouring out of the ground and into the atmosphere. This was a looming environmental catastrophe. They needed to stop the flow of gas before it could cause more harm. Faced with a rapidly escalating crisis, the Soviet scientists had to make a difficult decision. How could they contain the massive leak of poisonous methane gas? Allowing it to vent into the atmosphere was not an option. They needed a solution, and they needed one quickly. They devised a plan to burn the gas off, a standard practice for dealing with smaller gas leaks. By setting the escaping gas on fire, they would convert the harmful methane into carbon dioxide and water. They reportedly threw a grenade down into the gas-filled crater. The result was instantaneous and spectacular. The entire crater erupted into a single, massive ball of fire. The scientists had successfully contained the immediate threat, replacing an invisible poison with a very visible fire. But they had made another profound miscalculation, underestimating the size of the gas field. The fire did not die down after a few weeks, and is still burning today, more than 50 years later. To understand the door to hell, we must look beneath the desert sands. The fire is fueled by natural gas, primarily methane, a simple, flammable molecule. The Karakum Desert sits atop the Amu Darya Basin, a giant underground sponge saturated with natural gas trapped for millions of years. This methane formed from ancient organic matter. The Darvaza crater is a window into this reservoir. The Soviet drilling rig collapse punched through the geological seal, releasing high-pressure gas. The crater became a massive leak, connecting the deep earth to the surface. The primary fuel is the unending supply of methane gas seeping up from the earth through a human-made wound. The fire, while complex, is governed by a simple chemical process: combustion. Combustion is a rapid reaction between a substance and an oxidant, usually oxygen, to produce heat and light. In the door to hell, the fuel is methane, CH4, and the oxidant is oxygen, O2. Igniting the crater provided the initial energy to start the reaction. From then on, the process became self-sustaining. Methane reacts with oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water, releasing heat and light. The door to hell is thousands of small combustion reactions happening at once, seeping through cracks in the crater floor. The constant fuel and oxygen create perfect conditions for this perpetual inferno. Extreme heat sustains combustion and creates circulation, ensuring the fire never lacks oxygen. It's a balanced system where constant fuel, limitless oxygen, and generated heat ensure the reaction never stops. Why is it still burning? The Soviet scientists expected the fire to extinguish itself within weeks, believing they had tapped a small gas pocket. This was a miscalculation. They had inadvertently opened a tap to one of the largest natural gas fields on the planet. The amount of fuel is almost limitless. Turkmenistan holds the world's fourth largest proven reserves of natural gas. The gas field is a complex geological structure stretching for hundreds of square kilometers. The Darvaza crater is just one tiny leak in this colossal system. It is like trying to empty an ocean with a teaspoon. The fire's longevity is due to the vastness of the reserve. It is more like a gas stove connected to a national grid. The door to hell is connected to the Earth's own natural gas grid and could burn for centuries more. While the crater itself is a sterile environment of intense heat and fire, its presence has created a unique and honestly pretty bizarre micro-ecosystem around its perimeter. The constant light and warmth have a profound effect on the surrounding desert, especially during those cold desert nights. The orange glow acts as a powerful beacon, attracting countless insects from miles around. Moths, beetles, and other nocturnal creatures are drawn to the light, creating this buzzing, swirling cloud of life around the fiery pit. This unnatural congregation of insects has, in turn, created a new and reliable food source for other desert inhabitants. This abundance of insect life has not gone unnoticed by the local predators. Swarms of birds, particularly swallows and swifts, can often be seen at dawn and dusk, swooping and diving through the air near the crater's edge, feasting on the insects attracted by the light. On the ground, the story is similar. Spiders, including large camel spiders, thrive in the area, building their webs and burrows in the warm soil around the crater to catch the endless supply of disoriented insects. It is a strange, man-made oasis of food in the otherwise sparse desert, a food chain built entirely around an eternal flame. In 2013, the famous explorer and storm chaser George Kourounis made headlines by becoming the first person to descend to the bottom of the crater. Protected by a heat-reflective suit and a breathing apparatus, he spent about 15 minutes on the fiery floor. His mission was not just for adventure, it was for science. He collected soil samples from the bottom, hoping to find out if any form of life could survive in such an extreme environment. The samples were taken from areas of lower temperature on the crater floor, away from the direct flames, where conditions might just be hospitable for microscopic organisms. The results of his expedition were astonishing. The soil samples he collected were found to contain bacteria that were not present in the soil outside the crater. These were extremophiles, organisms that can thrive in harsh environments that are deadly to most other life forms. It seems that even within this hellish landscape of fire and gas, a unique and resilient ecosystem of microscopic life has taken hold. This discovery suggests that life is, well, incredibly tenacious, capable of finding a foothold in even the most unlikely and seemingly inhospitable corners of our planet, sustained by the chemical energy of the crater itself. Standing before this 70-meter-wide crater of fire, it's natural for the imagination to run wild. For many, it's more than a geological accident. It is a place of powerful symbolism, a literal gateway to hell. This idea of a physical entrance to an underworld is an ancient one found in cultures across the globe. The Darvaza crater fits this archetype perfectly. The endless roaring flames and the sheer terrifying scale of the chasm all contribute to this mythic interpretation. For nomadic people, the crater is a place to be regarded with caution and respect. It is seen as a cursed place, a wound in the earth that should not have been opened. Even the most rational traveler can feel a certain dread when looking down into the Inferno. The door to hell earns its name from the profound and unsettling feelings it evokes. Beyond the myth of a portal to the underworld, the crater has inspired personal stories and superstitions. These are the whispers that travel with nomadic herders and local guides. One tale speaks of the souls of sinners drawn to the fire. Another belief is that the fire has a will of its own, a consciousness born from the Earth's anger at the Soviet drilling. Some locals say the crater's roar changes with the spirit's mood. There are also stories about animals behaving strangely near the crater. These tales reinforce the idea that the crater disrupts the natural order. Superstitions have also sprung up around visiting the crater, with some believing offerings bring good fortune, while others believe the opposite. These rituals show how people try to make sense of the inexplicable. Local legends attribute the crater's creation to supernatural forces, not just a Soviet drilling rig. One story frames it as the footprint of a demonic entity. In this myth, the devil stepped upon the earth with such force that the ground shattered and caught fire. The crater is the lasting scar, a mark left by a malevolent power. This transforms the site into a place of ancient mythic significance. It's no longer a random hole, but a deliberate impression. This elevates the crater into the realm of the demonic, a landmark of cosmic importance. The legend carries a warning: the being that made it could return. The fire is a beacon for its return, adding apocalyptic dread to the crater's story. These stories add cultural depth that a scientific explanation lacks. It is the devil's footprint, a place of immense power, a landmark that tells a story of gods and monsters. In the spiritual traditions of the region, which often blend Islamic beliefs with older, pre-Islamic shamanistic and animistic ideas, fire and the desert are both powerful elements. The desert is the domain of spirits known as jinn, supernatural creatures that can be either good or evil. The door to hell, as a place of eternal fire in the heart of the desert, is seen by some as a location of immense spiritual power, a place where the jinn are particularly active. The flames are not just burning gas, they are the physical manifestation of these fiery spirits, dancing and celebrating in their natural element. According to these beliefs, the crater is a place where the boundaries between the human world and the spirit world are thin. It's a place for caution, but also a place where one might seek a connection with these powerful entities. Shamans or spiritual healers in the region might have seen the crater as a site for rituals, a place to draw upon the immense energy of the fire. The constant roar could be interpreted as the voices of the spirits, and the intense heat as a purifying force. This perspective imbues the crater with a sacred, albeit dangerous quality, transforming it from a hazard into a potential source of spiritual power. Stories are told of people who have spent a night near the crater and experienced strange dreams or visions. They speak of hearing whispers in the sound of the flames, or seeing fleeting figures moving in the periphery of the firelight. These personal, anecdotal experiences feed back into the collective mythology of the site. They're interpreted not as tricks of the light or the effects of exhaustion, but as genuine encounters with the spirits of the place. Each new story adds another thread to the rich tapestry of folklore surrounding the crater, solidifying its reputation as a paranormal hotspot in the heart of the Karakum. This spiritual interpretation offers a different way of relating to the crater. It is not something to be feared as a gateway to a punitive underworld, but rather something to be respected as a place of immense natural and supernatural energy. It frames the crater as a living part of the desert's spiritual landscape. The fire is not a mistake. It is a powerful expression of the desert's soul. This view allows for a more complex and nuanced relationship with the site, one that is built on a foundation of respect, awe, and a deep understanding of the desert as a place filled with unseen forces and ancient powers. The door to hell is a modern myth in the making. Its origin, a Soviet-era industrial accident, has become a legend, blending fact and fiction. Online, the story mutates, dates change, the way it was lit shifts, and the number of people involved grows with each retelling. Myths evolve this way, shaped by countless retellings until only the most dramatic details remain. Today, the crater is a pilgrimage site for adventurers, its story a badge of exploration in the digital age. The legend is no longer just about Soviet failure. It's about our hunger for wonder and experience. The door to hell is a story machine, fueling new legends as powerful as any ancient myth. Its flames burn on methane, but its legend is kept alive by human imagination. Once a forgotten Soviet mishap, the door to hell is now a world-famous destination, thanks to the internet's viral power. The journey is tough. Turkmenistan is remote, visas are hard to get, and the desert crossing is grueling. There are no hotels or safety rails, just yurt camps and the raw spectacle of fire under the stars. The challenge of reaching the crater makes the experience feel earned, heightening its allure. As night falls, the crater's glow transforms the landscape, creating an unforgettable sensory experience. What was once an environmental disaster is now a national treasure, promoted by the government as a tourism highlight. The door to hell proves that even a spectacular mistake can put a remote place on the world map. For nearby villagers, the door to hell is both a blessing and a mystery. Locals like Marat have become guides, using their knowledge to lead visitors and support their families. Before, it was just a burning hole we avoided, Marat might say. Now, people come from everywhere to see it. The crater brings income, but also unease. Elders still warn of its dangers. We respect the fire. We show it to guests, then leave it in peace, Marat explains. The site is both an economic engine and a place of deep cultural caution. Locals balance tradition and tourism, treating the crater with a mix of pragmatism and reverence. For them, the door to hell is not just a spectacle, it's a living part of their home. For scientists, the Darvaza crater is a unique accidental experiment, a window into geology, chemistry, and life in extremes. Dr. Elena Petrova, a geologist, might say, "It's a perfect case study. We analyze gas flow, study extremophile bacteria, and monitor the crater's stability." The original error was underestimating the geology, creating a permanent escape for methane. The debate now: let it burn or try to extinguish it. Burning releases CO2, but stopping the fire could unleash even more harmful methane. Capping the leak would be a massive, costly challenge, Dr. Petrova notes. The crater is a symbol of the fossil fuel age, a fiery reminder of the risks we take with nature's power. It's a lesson in humility, written in fire on the Earth's surface. The door to hell is a warning we can't ignore. The door to hell is Turkmenistan's most famous landmark, an accidental icon and a source of national pride. It draws tourists and sets the country apart, but it's also an environmental disaster, burning for decades and wasting valuable gas. The government faces a dilemma: promote the crater for tourism or extinguish it to stop the damage. Capping the leak would be a huge, risky engineering feat, with no guarantee of success. Closing the crater would end local tourism and erase a unique symbol from the map. The site is both asset and liability, a livelihood for locals, a research site for scientists, and a problem for officials. The door to hell is a crossroads of ecology, economy, culture, and science. It's a vivid reminder of the complex consequences of our actions and the stories we build around them. The door to hell is a powerful symbol, reflecting our complex relationship with the planet. Created by our relentless search for energy, it's a monument to human ambition, ingenuity, and error. The crater reminds us that the Earth holds immense power that we cannot always control. It is a scarred landscape, forcing us to confront the unintended consequences of our actions. It teaches us humility, showing nature operates on scales we struggle to comprehend. The continuous burning releases greenhouse gases, a microcosm of our global energy consumption. The door to hell makes this abstract process visceral and real. We find it beautiful, mesmerizing, turning an industrial accident into a tourist attraction. This reveals our ability to find wonder even in our mistakes. What does the future hold for the door to hell? For now, the fire continues to burn, a seemingly permanent feature. Tourists arrive, drawn to this surreal spectacle, but this may not last. The government is committed to extinguishing the flames, motivated by environmental and economic concerns. If the door to hell closes, silence will replace the roar. But something would also be lost: a unique landmark. This creates a paradox. Is it right to preserve a beautiful disaster or clean up our mistakes? Ultimately, The door to hell asks us to think about energy, the environment, and our place in the natural world. Whether it burns for years or centuries, the story of Darvaza will endure. A tale of an accidental, mesmerizing gateway to an underworld of our making.